We're talking to Erwin here with this beautiful dual Ghia. Erwin, tell us about your car.
Well, dual Ghias were named after Dual Motors, which was a company owned by Gene Casserow. He built dual-engine trucks for the military to move tanks around, and he also delivered cars from the Chrysler assembly lines to dealers. So when Chrysler had their concept cars that they decided not to go into production on, I think one was called the Fire Arrow or Fireball, he took it over with their permission and kind of civilized it for the street. And in 1957 they built 117 dual Ghias, and not too many left because they were very prone to rust, and when they weren't worth anything many years ago they were allowed to kind of rust out. So this one was rescued. The seller told me it was Ava Gardner's car, a gift from Frank Sinatra. Now I can't document that. I wrote to her when she was alive and I didn't get a response. I also wrote to and spoke to the Ava Gardner Museum back east, and they confirmed that she was living in Europe and this is where this car came from. That's as close as I could get. But anyway, I've had it since the late 80s. It was a rust bucket. I actually bought two of them to get enough parts to put it together. And at the time I did not know that the emblems were the hard part. I even had my secretary who spoke Italian to call the Ghia factory at midnight, because of the time difference. She got the custodian on the phone, and they didn't know anything about emblems. So I had a friend with a dual Ghia who let me borrow his, and I made up emblems. Ended up selling them to dual Ghia people, and met a lot of people that way. And this car is not a stock car. I've modified it for grand touring with a much more powerful motor and disc brakes. And it's a great driving car.
It's a beautiful car.
Thank you.
And there's a nice tidbit of information that has always made me laugh is Ronald Reagan lost his Ghia to Lyndon Johnson in a poker game. I found that was very funny.
And also Mickey Cohen, the gangster, lost his to the IRS. It was the car that stars all the, it was a big Hollywood car, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin.
Look at that's the original D500 motor. That was the early car. The later car was a 1, I think a D500-1 or something. This was the later one. As you can see here, the interior is all Chrysler. It's got a lot of the old switches on the dash, gauges, the steering wheel's a late 50s Chrysler wheel. There's a lot of recognizable features on this car from Chrysler.
One interesting thing is that round chrome disc on the door.
Of course I know.
Hi Leslie.
How are you?
I saw you cruise in.
Oh jeez.
The round dual disc on the door is where the hand cranks were. When they first came out they had hand crank windows, but the dual Ghia owners, who were well-to-do, complained because there was too many cranks. So they kind of retrofitted power windows to them. They were all convertibles except one hardtop.
One hardtop. So how many of these do you think are left?
Maybe 30, and probably 10 of them, 5 to 10 have been restored nicely.
Oh, this is a beautiful example.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful car. And this hubcap setup, a lot of them had Kelsey Hayes wheels as well. What's the deal with the hubcaps?
Well, the hubcaps were how they came, and some people put on Kelsey Hayes wire wheels, or if they lost hubcaps and they were, let's say, not the original owner and they wanted to redo the car, it was easier to put on Kelsey Hayes wires than to try to hunt down hubcaps.
I see. So I would think those would be pretty rare to find a set today.
Well, there's actually a gentleman reproducing. His name is Scoey Mitchell.
Scoey Mitchell?
Do you know Scoey Mitchell?
If you're talking about the comedian.
Scoey Mitchell is a movie actor, producer guy.
Big tall guy, about 6'7".
Big tall guy, and he's very into exotic cars.
Oh, I had no idea.
And he had dual Ghia, Fossil Vega kind of stuff, and he's reproducing those hubcaps.
Wow.
Okay.
Here's the emblem for the dual Ghia. As you can see, it's got the Italian and the American flag. Kind of a nice little touch.